Have you ever been in a debate, maybe trying to see both sides of something tricky and just felt lost? Or tried explaining something complex and realized, whoops, I sound kind of biased?
Yeah, it happens all the time.
Well, welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're cutting through that exact kind of confusion. We're going to unpack a really useful framework for looking at subjects with two clear viewpoints, using urban versus rural living as our main example.
Yeah.
And the source material we're digging into today, it offers this fantastic shortcut, really, to grasp these complex ideas much faster.
It lays out a structure.
Exactly, a structure to help you analyze and talk about contrasting ideas in a balanced way. So our mission is simple. Pull out the most valuable bits of wisdom from this approach.
Let's do it.
Okay, so let's unpack this. The source really talks about prompts that ask you to discuss both views. What's the usual trap people fall into with these?
That's a really good starting point. The trap is usually treating it like one single issue with just a pro and con list.
Right.
But the key insight here from this source is that you're often dealing with two distinct subjects. So not just living location, but cities, A&D, the countryside, separately.
Okay.
Two subjects. Exactly. And for each of those, you've got to cover both the good stuff and the bad stuff, the positives and the negatives.
So it's not one coin, two sides?
It's more like two different coins, and you need to look at both sides of each one. It forces you to, be more thorough and fight that natural bias we all have.
It clicks. So, like, for city living, advantage, job opportunities, disadvantage, maybe the cost.
Mm-hmm.
And then for rural living, advantage, peace and quiet, disadvantage, maybe fewer services nearby.
Precisely. You see, positive and negative for each location. It's a way of thinking, really.
Okay, let's make this super concrete.
Yeah.
The source gives this specific example prompt. Cities around the world are continuing to expand as people leave the countryside. Some people prefer to live in the city, while others prefer to live in the countryside. Discuss both views.
Classic example.
Yeah. And what I found really interesting was how the source suggests structuring the topic sentences. It's quite clever.
How so?
Well, for city living, it suggests something like, cities have many advantages for people, but there are a few drawbacks as well. See? Right away, it signals pros and cons for the city.
Sets the stage clearly.
And then for the countryside, it gives this example. Likewise, the countryside has its detriments to living, but it also has some benefits. What's interesting there is starting with the negative.
Mm-hmm. The detriments.
Yeah, but it still promises the balanced view. Mentioning the benefits are coming too. It shows you don't always have to lead with the positive.
That's a great point. And connecting this to the bigger picture,
Mm-hmm.
why does this structure matter so much?
Well, what do you think?
I think it's about clarity and thoroughness, really. It guides you, the listener or reader, to think about all the angles without getting overwhelmed. It helps avoid bias.
Yeah, it kind of forces you to be comprehensive.
Right. It's like a mental checklist, almost. You cover the city's pros, city's cons,
Mhm.
country's pros, country's cons. It can lead to that aha moment in organizing your thoughts.
Honestly, understanding the structure sort of changed how I read things. Now I'm always looking for that other coin.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so what about wrapping it all up? The conclusion.
The conclusion. The source says it usually involves, well, first, restating the main points you just discussed.
Kind of a quick summary.
Exactly. And then you give your final opinion. But, and this is the important bit, that opinion has to be based only on the points you've already brought up in the main body.
No new arguments popping up at the end.
No new arguments. It keeps it tight and reinforces that balanced perspective you've built. It shows your conclusion flows logically from everything discussed.
Okay, got it. So, wrapping our discussion up then. Whether you dream of a penthouse view or a quiet farmhouse, hopefully, you now have a much clearer picture of how to tackle these topics with two distinct sides.
It ensures you're balanced, you're thorough, and honestly, this framework feels like a really useful tool for just getting information quickly, understanding different viewpoints faster.
It really is.
Oh.
Which leads me to a final thought for you listening.
Okay.
How might applying this discuss both views, this two-subject pros and cons approach? How might that change the way you or even explain other tricky dual-sided issues you come across in your own life, or maybe at work? Something to think about.